Maybe I should let Michael introduce it. I kind of reworded the exact wording of his proposition there, added more details, and Mr. McNally, Mr. Nally, is also, Michael's building on Mr. Nally's document, so maybe Michael can pass the baton to Paul, and I think we can take more than 5 minutes on this. Michael, would you care to introduce this issue?
Yeah, thank you, Charles. I just wanted to ask how many on the call listening were able to catch Paul Nally on the live streaming broadcast? There were several TV channels that had him. Did anybody see it?
This is David in Michigan. I did. I saw it, and I copied Paul Nally in an email I sent to Charles saying congratulations for the exposure. I yield.
All right. Yeah, he was on several streaming news channels. OAN, I believe, is the one that's probably the most popular, and then NTD, Right Side Broadcasting. But it was really good. And the proposal, I would like to, I guess, let Paul, if he's on right now, just say anything about it, what he would like, and then I could present my proposal after he gives his words on the issue. Paul, are you there?
Thank you. Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Basically, what we have done, 44 citizens from around the country have petitioned the grand jury for the Northern District of Georgia to take control and manage a criminal inquiry into the allegations of misconduct in this presidential election cycle. This is a nonpartisan effort. What we are seeking is that if the evidence does show, and we believe, contrary to the opinion of the former United States Attorney Barr, we believe that there is sufficient evidence to warrant not just the inquiry, criminal inquiry around the nation, but the issuance of presentments and indictments of persons or persons, corporate and natural persons, for violations of federal laws concerning the election process. And we hope to see them indicted to trial and upon conviction being sentenced to a term of years away from the social intercourse of peace-loving, freedom-loving American citizens. So that is it in a nutshell. Now the primary reason for bringing this action is because we have experienced time and again multiple instances of violations of federal criminal statutes, and we have not seen criminal prosecutions that have followed. So we want to put an end to our reliance upon the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI in bringing these people before the bar of justice. We will assume our duty as prosecutors in this matter. So with that oversight, I will yield to questions or comments.
Just Chris has an observation. If I might, I think it would be logical and clear as day to presume that there was more than one state experiencing it nearly the same simultaneously moment and time, although throughout different time zones, where a devious plot was executed to stop the counts where they had the Dominion and other machines and systems in play to dramatically alter the vote numbers for the Biden group and to the detriment of the Trump group. Not that I'm for either group or not, although I am certainly anti-criminal elements, as we see clearly evidenced by the Biden group. It certainly seems reasonable that someone was calling the shots. There was a defined playbook that was disseminated through some sort of intercommunications means between the different state factions who all participated simultaneously. And, of course, it was blatant in Georgia, and they had video cameras to document it, and a fake burst pipe to cover it up. These are all things that we want to pay attention to and certainly support that we need to have someone that is actually interested in preserving the rule of law and justice in America, objective justice that is, as opposed to being conflicted and biased as the private foreign corporation called the Department of Justice and the FBI seem to be completely compromised and perhaps beyond the ability to make a fair and neutral adjudication of what crimes are because of conflicts of interest. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Michael, did you have further focus about taking Paul's model complaint and trying to encourage others in our group here to do similar actions? I think that was part of your wording in your proposition here.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to use this this criminal act, as a way to trigger people to get involved. I believe that it would be very advantageous for us to take Paul's his claim and reword it to fit our particular state in his demand for the investigation of a grand jury. We could apply that to whatever state we want, and that's what we're planning to do in the state of Florida, is to pursue a grand jury inquiry to investigate this crime that has disenfranchised all of the states. Every state would have the right to do this and clearly have proper standing. There's no doubt about it. And I think this would be a great way for us to, find other people in the community that feel the same way, that would be willing to put their name on the petition, to petition the federal court in their district, whatever state that may be. We're in the middle district of Florida, but we have three court districts, federal court districts, and we're trying to find people that would want to participate in each of those three districts. And so far, it's been a pretty positive response from the people I've spoken to. And then the second proposal that I made was to start nominating people in our group here on this phone that would be capable of taking on different duties and aspects of organizing our efforts. And by nominating someone, that gives it a better standing, a little better honor, rather than appointing yourself. And I think
yes,
it's very appropriate in following that pattern. It was a pattern that the founders chose as well. So I would yield at this time to any comments, questions. on these two proposals.
Okay. Anybody? Comments, questions on these two proposals? Well, I could share a little bit. On the first one, I am inclined to believe that the Biden campaign has orchestrated fraud, but I would want to also side with Lewis in this issue in that we need to have specifics. I haven't had the time to get into Paul's complaint and its details. I don't know how much specifics Paul goes into there, but we would need to have evidence solid that is worthy of establishing probable cause to form the belief that the crime has actually been committed. And a key point there is specific individuals need to be named. Maybe we could get at least a brief response from Paul there. Paul, in your complaint and motion before the grand jury, did you name specific individuals that you believe are guilty of criminal behavior, or did you leave that kind of ambiguous?
No, we did not. And thank you, Charles, for allowing a little further input. We do not name specific individuals. And the reason we don't is because there is no need in taking up that amount of paperwork to request a grand jury investigation. Now, it might be helpful to know that as I recall, 3 of the petitioners on our complaint are in fact witnesses to conduct which they allege was illegal in that voting process. The rest of us are asking the grand jury to conduct its own investigation, which a grand jury has absolute jurisdiction to do. Now, let me also point out that our petition is requesting the Atlanta Division Grand Jury to investigate, to manage, supervise, and investigate allegations from all 50 states. Now that, of course, is a very large order. But what a federal grand jury can do, now, first off, you have to understand that a grand jury anywhere, a federal grand jury anywhere, from Guam to Puerto Rico, can investigate violations of federal criminal statutes wherever they occur. Now, there are other procedures to follow if they start an investigation in a crime committed in the state of Washington, let's say. Then whatever they determine in Atlanta, they can either advise a federal grand jury in Washington of what they have found, or they can just go ahead and issue an indictment. But that indictment must be transferred to the district court, having in personam jurisdiction of the offender.
Yeah.
Now, because this is such a tall order, another thing that the grand jury can do in Atlanta is they can communicate directly with other grand juries around the country. So if they find that there was a problem in Michigan, they can contact a grand jury, federal grand jury in Michigan, and ask them to focus their attention on what's going on in Michigan. And when they are through with that investigation in Michigan, let the Atlanta grand jury know what they found. and they can do that for all 50 states. If there are citizens in, for example, Arizona, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, who are actually witnesses and use our petition as a boilerplate for filing their own, then they can petition Pennsylvania, a federal grand jury in Pennsylvania, to conduct an investigation in that state and ask the grand jury in Pennsylvania, when they have reached a decision, to forward a copy of their presentment or indictments, well, a copy of a presentment to the Atlanta grand jury, so they will know that that state's taken care of. So if any citizens want to participate in a criminal prosecution of those who have stolen the value of our property, our intangible property, which is our vote, then they are welcome to do so either by joining a petition in their own state, or they can send a letter of support to the Atlanta grand jury supporting our request for the Atlanta grand jury to manage and supervise that criminal investigation. And I'll yield if there are any questions or comments.